decided they have to get away from the oil. They found someplace high up in the Catskills. A good couple of hours passed where any you'd ever stepped foot. They found some hunting lodge there for a couple of days. Out in the nice mountains, Geschmack here. They sat down. They had a nice 6-hour seder. After learning that such simchas hatayr, they figured certain calls for a celebration. Okay. Anyone have any food to tell? So one guy says, yeah, I bought up a whole sack of franks. Okay, so I said, okay, let's make a grill. 1 second, anyone have a grill? No one bought along the grill. Okay, not a problem. Guy hops into his car, he drives a half hour to the nearest Walmart, he buys a grill, some coals. On the way he picks up a couple of 6-packs, puts them in his car, and he comes back and says, okay, let's get things rolling. 1 second. You gotta table the grill. You bought a grill from a guy. It needs to be tabled. So you gotta table a grill. So you gotta find out. He says, okay, it's fine. So let's find a mikveh. Where's the mikveh center of the world? They call the nearest Chabad rabbi. He says, yeah, there's a mikveh not far. Just a 90-minute trip to Buffalo, and there's a mikveh there. That's the Shkem Halach. Spent 3 hours now traveling there and traveling back. That's not an answer. That is 1 second. There's a brook. Not far. Down the road there's a brook. So maybe we'll use that. Could you use a brook for Table and Caleb? No. Guy gets on the phone, he's trying to find a rabbi who's available by Nazmanim. Meanwhile, guys, this is taking too long. He takes himself a beer, he's about to start drinking. His friend tells him, hey, 1 second. You table that bottle? You think you can start drinking from a bottle which you bought from a guy? So what do you want me to do? Pour it out and then table it and then put back in the beer. Then he says, 1 second. And the kitchen sink that over here you tabled? And how about the table that we're going to use? So we got to figure out what's the halacha of all these things, what needs tefillas kelim, what doesn't need tefillas kelim. So basically we have already on the shayla, what's the story with the grill, what's the story with the mikveh, could use a brook, a bottle of beer, how are you allowed to use it without tabling? No one ever heard of tabling it before using it. What's with the kitchen sink, with the table? So one of the guys had an idea, it's that we'll just put everything in a foil pan and put it on the grill. Could you use the foil pan without tabling it? So let's go through a little bit the basics of Hilchos Tefillas Kelim, and then we'll try to get to the Lemaisa, the Shabbos. So the Halacha Tefillas Kelim is a parsha that was given in Parshas Matos when they came back from a war with Midian. After fighting the war with Midian, there was a lot of shalom, a lot of loot, and there was a lot of kelim. There was pots and pans and all kinds of stuff, and cups, and they wanted to use them. So the first thing that Elazar HaKohen, who was the Kohen in charge of the Lechama, told them is you have to kasher it. Something which is used, a grill which is used by fire, you have to kasher with fire. If you have a pot which you're cooking, you have to kasher it with water. Aside from that, it says that you have to put it in a mikvah in order for it to be tar. The Gemara learns from the Avodah Zarah that when you buy or receive a keli from a guy, you have to kasher it if it was used for treif, and even if not, you have to table it. Whether you kasher or don't have to kasher it, if something doesn't need kashering, you have to table in the mikveh in order to use it. The Torah lists off what needs to be tabled. Achas hazav, gold, kesef is silver, nechoshes is copper, barzel is iron, steel is also iron, bedil is tin, and ifaris is lead. The Torah lists off 6 types of metal which need to be tabled. Now, the Rabbanon said glass also has to be tabled. It has certain properties which are similar to metal, so the Rabbanon glass also has to be tabled. Now, what's going to be with all the other metals? Aluminum, there's many metals which are not listed in this list. So Rav Moshe has a tshuva, Rav Moshe Feinstein Rav Moshe, and he says that other metals don't have to be tabled midoraisa, but midorabanan you have to table them. They're similar to glass. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky held that you don't have to table them at all. They're not metals in the Torah. Chacham made a gzera on glass. They didn't make a gzera on aluminum. There are other poskim that say that no, even though the Torah lists off 6 metals, same halach will be by all metal. So we have now different shittas about things which are like aluminum, kalim, if they or other metals if they have to be tabled. Glass was saying has to be tabled. Cheres, earthenware, these pottery, the china, these things generally will not have to be tabled. Plastic, wooden kalim don't have to be tabled. This is not in the list the Torah says. Often china is glazed. If it's glazed, so it depends. If it's a very, very thin layer, so then you don't have to table it. it's bottled to the kli, has no chashivas by itself, it doesn't have to be tabled. Usually it's glazed, it's 4 out of parts to 1,000 of an inch is the thickness of the glaze. Now, if you have something with a thicker glaze, it's like this. I was one time by the mikveh, I see a caterer was there, he had a stack, 10 boxes high of these little pots. They put chalent in these little bowls. It's like a little pot with a little cover on top. And we're sitting there tabling each one. I asked him, "What are you doing?" It's made out of pottery. It doesn't have to. It's made out of cheres. It doesn't have to be tabled. He says, "Look in the garbage." I said, "Why do you want me to look in the garbage?" Just go over there. You'll see something. Take it out. So I go there. I see there was one that broke, and it had a thick layer of glass. You're able to see when it cracked. Mamsh, a thick layer of glass. Such a thing would have to be tabled. Things which are something like this probably is not glazed at all.
So
even if it's glazed as a very, very thin sheet.
Throughout?
So this even chachili of it.
Even chachili, you don't have to table it. I mean, if you have those kids at home, so you have a lot of those without the handles, you can see if they're glazed or not. So now Corel is like this. Corel is at least what those who looked into it say. The price can say that Corel is more than 80% glass. There's some other ingredients in there, so Corel generally has to be tabled. Corel, sometimes if you get a set that has mugs, not the little teacups. If it has mugs, the mugs are made out of different material and those don't have to be tabled. But general Corel has to be tabled with a bracha, with regular glass. Now, what kalim do you have to be tabled? Kalim which come from a guy. If a yid made a keli, you don't have to table it. That's why made in Israel, people generally didn't use to table. Today, most kalim, or many kalim which are made in Israel, are made in China, and even the sticker made in Israel is probably made in China. So those, if it comes from Eretz Yisrael, you should table it, but you table it out of bracha because in case it was made in, if it was actually made by Yid, then it's not chayv in tefillah, so because of the bracha, we'll be careful. But it's better to table things, unless it's something, if you have something silver, which is made by an Israeli company, that wouldn't need to be tabled. But generally, from Kalim from Eretz Yisrael today, it's very hard to know what's really from Eretz Yisrael.
Goes by the ownership, or who made it? Who actually made it?
So, if it's a company, it goes by the owner. Because if it's a private person who you hire, that may make a difference, because it's a woman. But the regular company, the workers are all salaried workers, so it depends who the owner is. It could be made all by Chinese or by Arabs, and it's as long as the company is Yid, it's not going to need tefillah. A Friday Yid is a shayla if it needs tefillah. The minhag ha'olam is not to table. If you hold that where a Friday Yid makes it needs tefillah, you get into some very interesting shaylas. Could a Friday Yid eat from his own kalim? He's going to come to Shamayim, they're going to punish him for eating from his own kalim. That's a little sticky, but the minhag ha'olam is not to table from Friday. Now, one very important halacha which comes out of this halacha, what's made by a Yid, which is a very common shayla, is if you buy a glass table, you buy it in a regular goyish store, or it's at least manufactured by goyim, so now you're going to have a problem. You may have to table a tabletop. We'll discuss more details about it later. Now, tabling a glass tabletop is extremely difficult. First of all, it's big and clunky. It probably won't survive its trip to the mikveh. No mikveh is going to let you put it in, or you're going to have to go to a big mikveh to put it in. So, if you buy the table new, so it was never assembled, you're assembling it yourself, then you won't have to table it because it wasn't a keli by a guy. It's first turning into a keli by a yid. If you buy it from a guy and you take it apart, if it's easy to reassemble, it does not have a halacha of, it didn't lose its shem keli, and then you would have to table it. But if you buy it new in the box, and it was never assembled yet, then if you assemble it, or even if the guy brings his workers to your house to assemble it, as long as you pay for it, and it's in your house, you kind it beforehand, then it belonged to Yid when it was assembled, and you would not have to table it.
What about glass top of a wood? They have these wood tables that put a glass thing on top. So now,
okay, we'll get to the tables a little later. We'll more into details of this. Now, if it still belongs to a guy, if someone goes to a hotel and they order a Coke, no one's tabling those kelim. If the keli still belongs to a guy, doesn't need tefillah. Tefillah is only Yisrael that bought a keli from a guy. So these guys who rented the hunting lodge, for that alone, they wouldn't have to table the sink and not the table. Now, only kelim which are used for a meal need tefillah. That includes two details. One, it has to be a keli. A sink is not a keli. It's something which is attached to a house. Something which is attached to the ground, or attached to a house, doesn't have a halacha of a keli. If you have a water cooler, if you have a water fountain that has a pipe going into the wall, that doesn't have to be tabled because that only functions being attached. being attached to the wall. We're going to get a little bit later to the Keurig machines. It's a very halacha machine. A lot of Torah was caused by this machine because they can't be taivaled. So a Keurig machine, if you have a big one, there's coffee machines that if you have a big one that has a pipe into the wall, so that would not need tefillah. If you have a little one, we'll have to get them to see what his halacha is going to be. Now, what kalim need tefillah? So a hammer doesn't need to be taivaled, even if occasionally we use it to crack open a coconut. It's not a kli seuda. Only kalim used in preparation of food or in eating food. You have a pot which is used in preparation of food, you have to taival it. If you have a spoon, a fork, a plate, these things you use when you actually eat the food, these things are called kli seuda, they have to be taivaled.
What about the pipe for the sink? Not the faucet, the spout.
These are all connected.
It's not connected, it comes right off.
It doesn't mean it's not connected. On Shabbos, if someone connects that, they're going to be chayiv. It's bidin b'karka.
What about the oven grates?
Oven grates is a big shayla. The minhag olam is not to table it because the oven only works being connected to the gas, and so it doesn't have such a shame keli, and those are all that's bottled to the oven. But if you have a toaster oven, you have to table the grates.
It's called kli seuda then?
The grates,
No.
if you make, it also depends if you put food directly on them. If you put, let's say you make grilled cheese directly on the grates,
Food doesn't mean that you bring it to the table?
a pot has to be tabled. A pot you don't put to the table. If it makes the food in its final stage of preparation, then it has to be tabled. Now, if you have a hammer, which you have a company which they serve coconuts, and you have a hammer which you use special for your coconuts, then it would have to be tabled because it's designated for Suda. But if you have something which only on occasion you use, it's not its main use, then it wouldn't have to be tabled. This shiloh actually comes up with a washing cup. If you have a washing cup, let's say you're in a buffer medira, and you want to cook your eggs, and that's the only available clean utensil, so you want to put it in the eggs to cook. So if it's a one-off, it will be mutter. But if, let's say, that's what you use to fill up your urn every time the water runs out of water, so then already it may need tefillah, because then you're using it specifically, it's set aside, it's used, one of its main uses is to prepare food.
But it's not the final thing, it's just filling up another keli.
But it's like a pot. I'm saying a pot you can eat on the plate. It's in the process of using.
So a nutcracker you don't have to tell you?
A nutcracker, pashtas have to table. It's a shiloh nutcracker. The reason why a nutcracker you have to be tabled, the place can say, is because the can opener you don't have to be tabled. A nutcracker you bring to the table and you serve, nuts are served with the shell.
Right.
So that's considered the food already.
Why is the can opener different?
A can opener, it doesn't come in direct contact with the food really, and it just gets off the shell. It's not something which is, it doesn't deal with food, it deals with the can.
Why do you have a hammer designated for coconut? Why is it different hammer?
You're talking about the outer layer, the coconut, you're dealing with the actual food. I'm not, what?
I'm saying it's not the-
When you get a coconut in the store, you're not getting it with the original shell. The original shell they take off in Hawaii, whoever they grew it. You're getting just the actual nut, and you have to bang it open and crack open the actual food. It comes in contact with the actual food.
Even if it's not done by the table?
A pot, you don't do
So
it
in
at
the
the table.
kitchen, they crack it open and scoop it out and serve it like
What,
that.
nuts?
No, coconut.
There's no scoop, it's the actual food. That is the shell. That is the food. What you see when you
The
buy
white
coconut.
stuff, the brown thing.
The brown thing is saying that there is a thin shit that's here. That's not edible.
The brown
It's hard to
thing
say
is
it's not
hard.
actual food. I don't
The
know.
wooden thing.
I don't know. If you something you I don't know. Maybe it's case will be better. Okay, now something which doesn't come in contact with food like a charger, they put a plate under the plate, or if you have a candy dish which you only put in candies which have a wrapper, that doesn't have to be tabled because it doesn't come in contact directly with the food. If you have a candy dish which you put in candies or chocolates directly, that does have to be tabled.
A pot that you cook eggs.
That's called directly with the food.
That's called.
Yeah, it's called the direct contact with the food. Now, Ramosha says a chiddush that a keli which is disposable means a keli which you use and after you use it can't be reused. Let's say you have a foil pan. A foil pan, it depends what you make in it. If you make hot dogs and if you make chicken in it, it can't really be reused. It's ruined. Moshe says such a keli does not have a halacha of a keli. He brings from a Mishnah Sheni, talks about a gourd that was used to fill up water, like a pumpkin shell or a watermelon shell that it gets ruined with use. And Moshe says that's not a keli. Therefore, disposable, if it's something which can't be reused, does not have to be tabled. If it's something which is normal to use, like if someone has a pan for cookies, a cookie sheet, or someone has a pan for chalas, these things are used over and over again. Such a thing would need tefillah. If someone has a pan, let's say for chicken or something like that, he's going to he can't not practical to reuse. Such a thing, what Moshe holds does not have a din of a keli and would not need tefillah.
It goes by each pan, each use?
It goes by what you're using it for.
You use one pan of chicken and one pan you just
You
make
put
salad,
cookies, then that one you'd have to. If you make a cookie and a cake in it, usually by the time you're finished with it, it has so many knife holes in it that it's not like you have to use anyways. So then, such a thing would not need tefillah.
Even though the item itself was never made to be reused, like a 9x13 pan is made to be used once and thrown out. And you're just a cheap guy, and you just reuse them again and again.
I'm not sure. It depends. This depends what the use is. If you're just putting cookies in there after they're baked, right, to bring over to somebody, there's no reason not to reuse them. People who bake on cookie sheets and these things, even the cheap ones, so they reuse them. It depends what use you use it for. Now, so for our guys who are stuck in the mountains with their grill, so that would be an eitzah if they use a disposable pan. So that would be good.
Is this something I have to that the first time you're using it, you don't have to title it?
No, it's a mistake has been around from the time of the Rishonim already. There is no header to use it once. The header is this, if it is only one-time use. Now, some grills are disposable and not practical to reuse. Those grills would be mutter to use according to Rabbi without tefillah. If you have a grill which is you could use 100 times, you just have no interest in schlepping it back and reusing it, that avada would need tefillah. There's another very interesting halacha. Beis Yosef says about kelim which are not meant for eating. He says a keli which is meant for business. That means if a store sells kelim, it's a chiddush. Beis Yosef says that the kelim by them are not called kelim for food, not called klesuda. If you have a store which you sell dishes, the dishes there are not called klesuda because for you they're not for eating. You wouldn't think of eating on them. They're only to sell. So this halacha is relevant that if you buy kelim from a store, the store cannot table them before they sell them to you. If the store, some people have, you order from them dishes, they'll pre-table them. If they pre-table them before they're yours, it doesn't work, and you have to re-table them.
Why is that?
What the eitzah on that is, what the store will generally do, is that if you paid already, they'll give it, if the stores usually know about this, they'll have someone pick it up for you and it becomes yours. Once it's yours, they can table it for you. Because that, by you, once it's yours already, it's considered
One of the workers can do it.
Yeah.
A worker could do that.
Be a work.
For this, yeah. The worker has a specific job. He's not hired for everything under the sun. That would be one. This comes up b'shalach manos. If let's say you want to send someone shalach manos, you want to send out shalach manos on a dish, on a glass dish. So you prepare 35 glass dishes. You have a problem because you're not using it to eat. You're using it to send something out. So for you, it's not kli achila. So you have really, there's two choices you have. You can't even tabling it won't work. What you have to, either you could do is, I know someone told me that what he does is, he uses glass dishes, but everyone eats on them Friday night. Beforehand. His whole family eats on the dishes. Now, so they table them first. Most people wouldn't be so quick to send shalach manos, or at least not receive shalach manos. They knew that someone had their meal on it the night, the two nights before.
But I'm putting food on it. I'm sending it out for Shachmas with food on it.
So that's not enough.
Why?
What if I knock out? I'll this in a minute, a little more. And another eight is to be machnes the people who to have someone pick it up for the people. This is a little bit complicated because the people you don't know who's going to get which thing, and you want to be able to change your mind. But this is an eight. What? Now, store like this. If you want to send a guy, if your brother's making a simcha and you want to send him a glass dish with food on it, that the place can say already. If it's just the one thing you're giving to somebody, you're giving him food. That's called kli suda. If you have a store like Confections Collections, a store which sells candy dishes, and for simchas, by them it's called kli schayra, and they can't table it. This is something that comes up.
So whenever you buy something, you have to take everything off, table it, and then put everything back on?
And be machnet to the person, then table it, and then put it.
What is that?
Now, one second. When you're sending to a simcha, when you're sending someone for a simcha, we're going to get to in a little bit, that when you buy a glass bottle and there's food in it, you're allowed to use it until the food comes out. We'll discuss that soon. Why? When you send someone a candy dish, they could eat the candies out of the dish until it's done. But if you send someone, you go to Confections Collections, you order for them a thing of the most gewaldige chocolates for the guy Shalom Zachar. It comes to the guy's house, the guy takes one look and says, no, I'm not putting this out for the tzibur. He puts it in a bag, puts it in his drawer, and he puts on someone's oatmeal cookies, which they sent him. He puts them out. That's a problem because that keli was never tabled. He can't reuse it for something. He can't use it for something else. It's always an eitzah for someone sending shalchmanis or for these things to write on it if it's tabled or not tabled. This way, the person who receives it should be aware of this problem. It's something which could come up. You want to rearrange things, you can't if it's not tabled yet. Once it's your keli.
You buy something that has a sticker, but there's plates that have a sticker on it. If you leave the sticker on, that's
It depends what the sticker says. If it says Makasa on it, maybe not, because people want to keep that sticker on. If it says, people
It says
say,
made in
a lot of
China,
people
or it
don't,
says what
right, so that Ben China would be a problem, would be a good simon, but people don't have. Very often people, when someone's making a simon, it doesn't even dawn on them that this thing isn't tabled. It's always a good idea to talk these things just to give a heads up to the person. Now, when we're dealing with bottles, so we said these, when you buy a bottle of wine, a bottle of grape juice, a bottle of Johnny Walker, you're keeping it in there for a long time and you're using it, right? So what's the header to use it? You bought a bottle from a guy and you didn't table it. How can you use it for food? Especially if some people, when they buy some type of bottle, they drink from the bottle. You're using it as a cup. How could you use it without tabling it? So in this, there's two heter. There's a heter from the Meril Diskin. Meril Diskin says that when you buy it, you're allowed to empty out the thing. He says you don't have to empty it out right away. You could empty it out slowly. So, some bottles you buy, you empty out right away, Taka. But for other people, or other types of things, take a while to empty out, that would be mutter. So you buy a bottle of crane, or pickles, it can last you for a while, then you're just emptying out. The problem's going to happen. What happens if you took out a bunch of pickles for a meal, and you want to put them back in the jar? Once you put it back in, you're already now using, you're not just emptying it out. So over here, it's a big shiloh in the paiskim.
Because you left half of them in. I took half the pickles out.
Right, so
You
if
still
it's
add
still
it.
being used as the original use, there are those who are makel. By glass, which is the rabbanon, it's easier to be makel. By metal, it's very hard to be makel with this cooler. Rabbi Moshe has another cooler. Rabbi Moshe says a tremendous chiddush. He says that when you buy soda in a bottle, pickles in a bottle, what's the bottle there for? They're not trying to give you a nice bottle with your pickles, a nice jar with your pickles. What they're trying to do is sell you pickles. It would be a little difficult to come there like this to the store. So all it is like a wrapper. And a wrapper, we find that Shabbos doesn't have a halacha of a keli. Rav Moshe says bottles have a halacha of a wrapper. So, so Dr. Moshe, a wrapper doesn't have to be titled. Dr. Moshe, let's say you finished everything in the bottle and you want to reuse it. Dr. Moshe, you're making it into a keli. They sold it to you as a wrapper. You're making it into a keli, so Yisrael's making a keli, so it doesn't have to be titled. Now, a lot of poskim are taken aback by the chiddush of Moshe. I saw that the contemporary poskim, a lot of it used for glass. Things which are not chayiv in tefillah midei raisa, they'll use this svara. They'll say that you're making your Moshe svara. Rav Moshe himself says that by metal, a person should be machmir and table it before reusing it. So most kelim we deal with are glass, and the metal kelim, if you're talking about a can of beer, a can of soda, which is it's garbage. That could be one have halacha b'keli b'chlal. Also, it's not usable before you open it, before you crack it. So that is there's definitely mokum to be makel. But if someone would have, let's say, the cookie tin, which is made out of which is made out of metal, so that already would be better to not to put back in, or certainly not to reuse before tabling it.
That would be with the bracha or not? Would Moshe's cool mess with the bracha?
Rabbi Yaakov said that hoyel benafik mipuma de Rav Moshe, not to make a bracha. Of that. Okay, now let's talk about where you could table. What's kosher for table? So the rule of mikvahs is two basic rules of mikvahs, for starters. Number one is there's water which is natural water which comes naturally flowing. That means, let's say you have a river, an ocean, that's kosher to table just the way it is. A spring, you could table it as it's flowing. Water, rainwater, which is not, when it comes down from Shemayim, it's not flowing, you can only table in it if it's gathered in one place. Our mikvahs, if you watch, they'll always turn off the filter before people table in them, because if the filter is on, the water's coming in and out, it's flowing. Rainwater, you can't table in while it's flowing. It has to be in one place. Now, if you have a stream, a brook, so there's always a question, where is this water from? Some of it is natural water, it springs from under the ground. Some of it is going to be rainwater. If you go over here to a lot of places over here, all over near Lakewood, there's brooks. If you go in the rainy season, they'll be very, very high. If you go after it's been dry for a long time, they'll be low. So that water is going to be a problem. It's rainwater which is moving when the river is high. So in Hilchas Tefillah, there's a machlekes. It's machlekes in the Gemara, which is a machlekes lahalacha. If you could use a river, a standard river which is flowing. Lahalacha, you need tefillah deraisa by a nida. So the Ramah says it's the eved mutter, but lachatchila not to do it. Tefillas kelim needs a mikvah which is kosher midiraisa. A men's mikvah for Erev Shabbos doesn't have all the chumras of a regular mikvah. So unless you know that it's kosher for tefillas kelim, you have to know specifically it's kosher for tefillas kelim. Otherwise, you can't use a regular mikvah to table kelim.
So then we have a lake over here. What would be the straight down the lake?
So like this. So if you have by tefillas kelim, the poskim say that there's machlokes in the poskim. Do you say that it's a tefillah deraisa? So you need to be machmir just like tefillas nida, and you should not use a lake? Or do you say that no, it's not as chomer, it's not chorus, so meilu u'meikel, and you could use a regular lake or stream? So, like this. If you're up the creek, so then you could use the creek for glass kalim, maybe aluminum, for things which don't need tefillah deraisa, it's more makom lahakal. Things which need tefillah deraisa, if you have no choice, there is makom lahakal. If you have a choice, it's better to use a different option.
So the grill cover is the problem.
If you're table and you make a bracha, yeah. You're in Kedai Ramah, let's make a lot.
So the lake over here, if in the oven, you can use it.
Yeah, as long as you know this lake is here the whole year,
Yeah.
all seasons. If it's here all seasons,
So
then
maybe it's flowing, maybe it leaks out.
so even if it does, there is what to be saying.
Because maybe it comes from the
Yeah.
ground. Maybe it's a stream.
The question, you're right. You have to know the tune of every lake.
Right.
Every lake has, the Lake Halsalja, the big lake in Lakewood is really a river. It's not a lake. So each lake has its own details.
So if you table on the main lake, it's okay?
You should better table in a mikveh if you're stuck and you have no choice. So
Let's say someone tabled already, let's say someone uses this like the table, that have to be tabled again?
if you're talking about a mob like that, no. If you're talking about something more serious, it's not.
Frying pan was this
It's
way.
better. If you're talking about metal, talking about something sky feeling the rice, it's better to retain. Now, let's speak a little bit about the Keurig machine because there's a couple of hulas, a couple of eights what to do when you don't have an option of table, which is good to be aware of. If a Keurig machine, regular electrical appliances need to be tabled with a bracha. A regular, if someone has a sandwich maker, a percolator, a urn, a pump pot, these things have to be tabled with a bracha. If you'd like them to not break, so leave them for 4 or 5 days after you table them to dry. Or if you're really desperate, open them up and dry them with a blow dryer. But don't use them until they're definitely dry. Generally, nothing's going to happen to them. If the Keurig machines have a computer chip in it, if that gets wet, the machine is over. So there's no option to table them. So the question is, in such a thing, what do you do if you want to use them? So like this. There is a shita, Shlomo Zalman held this way, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, that what's the isser to use a keli that's not tabled? There's no isser to use a keli which is not tabled, just the Torah said you have to table it before you use it. Let's say you can't table it. So then, there's no isser directly to use it, it's a chiyuv to table. You can't table it. So, it may be mutter to use.
That's why you don't have a mikveh either, son?
No, because then it's something which is shaykh to tefillah. You have a chsar nechadimtza. Now, Rabbi Felder timed on this interesting thing. Tabling in snow, technically you could table in snow. L'chatchila we don't table in snow, but let's say a tabletop. If someone has a glass tabletop which they have to table, which is other stavim to be makel and it's glass, so then people do table that in snow. So the time is a Keurig machine you could table in snow. You fill it up with snow, nothing's going to happen to the machine. So he says maybe it is possible to table. Also, the Svar Shlomo Zalman himself said not to be saying mechanit so fast. It's not a pashtus Svar.
What about the internal parts? Isn't there for the internal parts doesn't mean
So like this. So Rabbi Belsky held that a Keurig machine is not metal because the only metal parts are internal. But he held that all the internal metal parts would not be a problem. You are focused because the stuff gets heated in an internal metal part. So that may be that's another tzad lahakol. Now, another eitz which is the eitz brought down Shulchan Aruch here in Halacha Tfilas Kalim, Halacha Shabbos. If you give it to a guy, you give it to a guy, you sell it to a guy, you give it to a guy as a present. If it belongs to a guy, you don't have to table it. So you give it to a guy, and then you rent it back, or you borrow it back. Now this is a short-term eitzah. You're going to hold it forever from the guy. You know, met some guy off the street, and the guy doesn't even know it's his, and he doesn't even know what you're doing. So that's not going to be a very good eitzah. But if you have no choice, that's what you say, Machan. It's better if you give your guy every month 50 cents for using his thing. So keep remembering that it's his. That would be better. But giving to a guy is a eitzah. Another eitzah is, this is a simple eitzah. When you buy the thing, don't be kainet. Pay the money. Have in mind not to be kainet. So it never came to Yisrael's Rishos. Once it came to you, being mafkir is not going to help.
How am I allowed to use it then?
It's not his, you paid him. It's after him. He got his money, he lets go of it.
Who is mafkir?
The halacha is when you buy something from a guy,
Yeah.
the whole thing about Basim, Tzvi, and Kamidbar, if you give him the money, he's gone.
Even if I don't make a kinyan.
Yeah. You don't care what you do.
I mean, I could go to the house and take it, but it's not really his.
Correct.
You better go your down.
Correct.
So you have to have
Okay.
a mind not to bring it
One
back.
other eitzah
That's a good answer. L'chatchila, no problem.
is that l'chatchila, the same problem, it stays by you long term. It's not
I found money on the
l'chatchila.
street. I could decide that.
But
Still pick it up. on
now, the
phone.
last eitzah is, if you break it in a way that you need a professional to fix it. That means if you take the case, this is what the Chaver do with the curing machines, you you bring it to fix it, to a guy, to a Uman who works with these things, he'll break something in it and then refix it, something that a professional could fix. Someone told me he bought one of the machines to one of the Rabbanim. The Rav told him, I don't have time to deal with this, but I'll tell you exactly how to take it apart down to its elements. I'll tell you which screws, which what, something which a normal person would never figure out, but these Rabbanim have already so much experience with this machine, they could break it in a way that they're professional enough to fix it. So that would be another eitzah. So just chazer over with our fellow who stopped up in the mountains. Otherwise, it still doesn't lose its same kli. That's a mission. It's a mission Caleb. That's the Baran Sukkah. The Caleb, a bed which you take apart.
It doesn't understand kli. Once it's broken,
What?
it's taken apart. It's not a
In halacha, it's not that way. It doesn't. In Telchus Tum V'Tov, if you have a kli, if you have the Gemara talks about a bed, if you take apart the bed, if you can put it right back together, it doesn't lose its same kli. Halacha Moshe.
So for a grill, it's not eight to bend the grate?
So bending the grate, some people take the pans, foil pins and bend it, but if you just bend it this way, bend it that way,
It's
so
never the same.
the shalosh,
Not gonna bend it back.
if you're going to bend it to the point where you can't use it anymore, you're probably not going to get it back into shape. Maybe. So for our story with the grill, if you have a pan, you can take an aluminum pan and put it on top of the disposable pan, that would be a good eitzah. If you have a mind not to be kainet, if it's a disposable grill, this will be an eitzah. If you have a goy, you could give it to as a present. This would also be an eitzah, and all things fail. I'm saying, so you do have your like to be said when you're stuck.
What about buying a grill and not being clean?
So we said, you need assembly, if it's not assembly as is, then you should make it.
Grill that I'm not supposed to.
Oh, yeah.